Hey, all right, we are live. We're just getting the last couple things put together here today for our live stream. Here's our list of workout stuff we're doing today. And if you want a copy of this, you can check our feed on Instagram. If you don't get all this written down, don't worry too much about it. I'm joined here today with Coach Sam.
Coach Sam.
That's right.
That's right.
Every
Monday. Whether you guys like it or not.
Monday and Wednesday.
Monday and Wednesday, exactly.
There you go.
Double doses of Sasquatch. So as per usual, we'll get started. We're going to do some jump rope. We're only going to do it for a couple minutes since we're starting a little late. So pretty simple. We're doing some other stuff. We do some jumping jacks as you see on the list. So and when you're jumping rope, as you can see, every week when I jump rope, I kind of screw up and, hit myself with the rope or whatever. And that's perfectly okay. Because I'm doing it. And if I'm doing it, then it's okay. No. It's, keep trying to do new things, right? More new connections in your brain. Even something as mundane as jumping rope, just trying to do it a slightly different way is, and then, you get better, you feel accomplished because you did something that you couldn't do before, even if it is totally, pointless. Well, not pointless, but, a superfluous task or skill, you get a sense of accomplishment. It does help, coordination and all that stuff. Basically the same diatribe I always go on, Keep working, keep trying to improve, keep trying to do new things, because it's how your brain learns stuff, is by you being in novel situations, and then your brain tries to figure it out. Done. All right, cool. So I'll do a little bit of jumping jacks, about a minute or so, and just to warm up different parts of our body. Now we're warming up our arms and those muscles in our legs, and open your legs apart and close them together. I suppose that's why they were invented. I'm screwing everything up. And I'm getting used to staying up on my toes. And I suppose that's what jump rope does too. Alright, so we'll start off and we'll go through some open the gate. Alright, and same thing. Keeping your balance through the whole step. So you're not falling on your foot. You're placing it down with control. Boink. 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 I won't make the annoying noise anymore.
Oh.
Ain't even me. Alright, we'll do close the gate.
I was watching a video today. It was like maybe an hour and something, like a YouTube podcast kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was the National Academy of Sports Medicine. They have a lot of good content, but they were talking about metabolism specifically for that. And one of the things they touched on was getting time in to move every day has a big impact.
Big impact, yes.
On your base metabolism and eating enough. Like,
yeah. I suppose if you sit around and your appetite, yeah, I've noticed my appetite is not as what it was since, before the beginning of the end, so.
Oh, yeah. The most fascinating thing, I'll let you get on to the next thing.
We'll keep talking now. It's just wash the feet, stick your foot out, right? Hips go back, straight back, and feel the stretch on the back side of your legs. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
You continue, please. I'm interested.
One of the things, so they talked about a study, I believe it was, they talked about a lot of different kind of studies in it. It was pretty dense. But in this particular study, they took two groups of people with similar body composition, similar activity levels, so low activity levels, people who are relatively sedentary, but they looked at people who had a thinner but like kind of skinny fat physique where they don't weigh a lot, but they don't have muscle tone either. And then they looked at people who had a heavier physique.
Downward dog for those of you. So remember, during this brief interruption, hands in front of and underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, curl your toes, and push yourself back over your and relax your head.
Oh, so So in any case, so while both groups of people were generally having low levels of activity, like no one was exercising, no one's going to the gym, but what they strapped a bunch of like accelerometers on them and just said, hey, go live your life. And what they found is the people that generally were skinny but still out of shape moved more. So they fidgeted more, got up out of their chair to get a glass of water or something. So they were, while overall, like over the course of a day, they spent roughly the same number of hours in a chair, the group that had a lower body fat percentage were the ones that were burning a couple hundred calories extra a day by getting out of their chair and just doing small things. So if you're sitting down a lot, get up every once in a while.
Go for a walk or something. It's nice out anyways. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna step up into lunge position. So and step forward and rise up, and we'll kind of here. And what we want to work on is, you can see how my knee is kind of slanting in this way. We want to try and push it so that my knee is pointing as sideways as it can to my hips. So the front of my hips are facing that way, and my knee is facing this way. So I'm kind of feeling the stretch in my groin, and I'm really trying to settle in and relax. I couldn't figure out how to say that more patronizing, but otherwise I would have. But yeah, we're just trying to work on kind of relaxing and letting your body go into the stretch instead of tensing up, trying to think about holding position, kind of let your bones hold the position and your muscles don't do the work. Good. All right, then we're going to rotate. I'm going to pivot on this toe. I'm going to sink in, and I got to bring my feet a little closer together, and that's perfectly all right. And I'm trying to straighten out my back leg, and I'm putting weight through my back leg. So my weight is pushing my heel to the ground back there, and relaxing. And I bring it a little closer, and you should feel the stretch here and in your calf muscle. Whew. All right. Cool. Then we'll pivot to the other way, and we'll do the same thing. All right. This one is obviously not as flexible, as I don't open up that hip nearly as much, because it's my right foot. So But still, I'm trying to get my hips to be sideways, facing that way, and try and get my knee in here. So I'm feeling the stretch on the inside, in my groin, and all that. And relaxing. Particularly, I know I'm kind of twitching down here in my legs and stuff, but I'm really concentrating on keeping my upper body very relaxed, even though I'm kind of holding an uncomfortable position. Right? I'm not like tensed up, because then your brain loses track of things. You can't sense what's going on, like what's stretching, or can't get any information because you're overloading it with the feedback from your tenseness. All right, and then we'll pivot and sink in. And if you got to bring your feet closer, that's perfectly fine. And a good measure for whether or not your hips, my hips are actually back, so you can see how this one is back farther. But just like when you're standing, your hands hang, generally, for most people, they're hanging on the other side, right? So my arms hang right next to my hips, right? And so then when I go down into the stretch, they're hanging right next to my hips as best I can. Cool. All right. Now, bow pose, everybody's favorite. Lay on your side, like you're going to take a nap. Grab your top foot, straighten out your bottom leg, push into your hand with your foot that you're holding, and try to make your torso and your thigh the bow, and your calf and your arm are the bowstring. And switch. Jiu-jitsu. How I miss I'm losing my skills of spinning around like a obtuse crab. I don't know.
You know, kind of on that note, in that thing I watched, they talked a little bit about like maintenance of different kinds of fitness, particularly with all of us not being able to do our preferred activities right now. That they were saying about 1 to 2 times a week for strength and 2 to 3 for cardiovascular is kind of the baseline to maintain what you've got.
All right, cool. So now we'll take a brief amount of time, and you're going to listen to me talk and wax philosophic.
Yes.
And the topic of today are beats. So I kind of tangentially talked about them last week. I'm talking about the defensive lunge, and I'm setting it out here. So I guess mechanically we'll talk about the mechanics first, and we'll talk about the uses. So with straight beats, right, these are like the classic ones. And what you want to do is it's all in the squeeze, right? Squeezing the blade at the right time. So what I see a lot of people do is they try to beat the blade that's right here, and what they're going to do is they're going to go aim and then swing for it, right? And that's usually looking for a thing for me to hit.
Yeah, let's I can hold something. I can grab a saber.
Oh, even better, a saber.
All right, sweet.
So, I see a lot of people do it. They go, and then they like, and then they try and hit it, and that's just not going to happen because as soon as I do this, what's Tyler going to do? He's going to disengage. Yeah, all right. And also, if I'm doing this big cocking of a spring, and then I release it, my hands is not. It's harder for it to be brought back into control and put back to use. And so when you do the beats, right, I have a pretty loose hand, right, very relaxed fingers, right, and I'm just going to kind of twist with my fingers, right, twist, squeeze. So turning the cutting edge with my fingers, turn, squeeze. Turn, squeeze, right? Turn, squeeze. So that's 4, that's the classic one. For 3, it's a little bit, it's not as strong in action because these muscles and all this stuff, you're used to doing this or grabbing onto something tight like that. And so all these muscles on the front of your body, your pecs, your biceps, and all that stuff, they're pretty strong, right? And so also, whenever someone, well, not all the time, but majority of the time when someone slaps somebody, what's their hand motion is this, right? Unless they're being super disrespectful, then they do the backhand. But most people that I've seen get slapped, it's this way, because that is just easier to, get a stronger hit, right, in a shorter amount of distance. But nonetheless, beat 3, still the same idea. I'm going to turn with my fingers, right? So I'm going to go turn, right? Turn, right? And so I'm trying to almost like a towel action, like you're snapping a towel, right? It's really short, and it's the stop that kind of makes the power, right? Also, that's how you improve your casting distance if any of you are fisher people. It's the stop of your hands. It's not how hard you push forward. It's how sharp you stop. That releases the energy, and you'll be a lot more accurate. So it's kind of the same thing here, right? So I'm turning and hit, right? Now, let the sword sit down low, right? My blade stops right there, right? So I'm going to a position, right? Yeah, you can bring it up again, right? So if I hit there, right, I hit the blade, right? Now don't leave the blade down, right? Boom, right? My blade doesn't go way over there. I'm not searching and doing this big action, right? Everything's really tight and short and kind of in this box right here. So whether I'm doing 3, right, bomb, or 4, boom, or even 5, right, here, right, I'm just kind of smacking, I'm just, pop, and I'll bring the blade away for a second, right, right, I'm right here, nice and tight, right, so nothing gets out of range. So that's the mechanics of this straight beat, right? It's real short hand actions, right? We're short and strong, like you're trying to give a nice sharp rap to something to get it to move. Circular actions. Circular beats.
Baby.
Oh, baby.
Man, I think I went on those for 4 days straight. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I guess I'll just do the motion for right now so you can put the sword down. Circular beats. So there's the way that most people do is kind of like a Molinet. And so I'm cutting this way, and I'm here, and I'm going to turn my hand or cut through. That's super old school. I don't know.
Shout out to Jeff Jones.
Shout out to Jeff Jones. Yeah, cut through. Ow. So, anyway, so I'm circling, right? And I'm doing this pretty soft, right? So I'm here, and the blade is going down, the cutting edge is going down, and then I'm turning the blade over. Turn, right? Turn, right? So this is the strongest, this is kind of the strongest action for circular, right? You see people, they do this, they throw it out there. You can do it this way too. But, it's kind of the same thing. The cutting, it's just in the opposite direction, right? You see my cutting edge is coming up, and then I'm flipping my hand over. Cutting edge up, turn the hand. Boom, right? Boom, boom. Or take, hit. Boom, boom, right? Boom, boom, right? You can transition. I know Tyler talked about this, transitioning circular into straight action. We'll get into that a little bit easier, a little bit later, a little bit easier, why not? So again, I'm here and I'm cutting down, or actually I'll be cutting out. I'm cutting out away, right? So I'm trying to grab, you have the sword. So and particularly when I'm doing circular beats, there's kind of 2 situations in which it works where I'm actually going to get their blade with my blade, right? So I'm going to take the blade and hit them, or take over right away, or whatever. And typically, especially with a righty against a lefty, the circular action where his blade position is pretty impossible to hit, right? So if someone has their point out there, it's going to be hard to hit. So they have their point forward, then straight beat. But typically, if their blade's way away, right, they're trying to hide it, or they're moving it around and avoiding where my blade is, right? So his blade's low, trying to avoid, and so then I can take and hit, right? So if they're keeping their blade low, right? So I'm doing this kind of stuff, right? And then take and then hit. The other, so basically their blade's low. Somehow you get them in that position, boom. The other time that I get it is, when their blade's like super high in a way. In circular beats, I tend to get the blade when they are making it so that the blade, I can't just like, it's not just out here in front of my face, right? It's gonna be farther away, So they're making it so I can't, it's not exactly where it would be, but that's all right? So they're keeping it away, right? But they can't keep their blade back like this all the time. Eventually, they're gonna have to bring it forward and try and hit, and that's when I can, bang, right, take, and do stuff like that. Now uses. So beats, obviously, to take the blade, right? Take the blade, take the right of way, beat, to hit them. I like to use straight beats. Well, I guess it depends on situation, right? So if I'm playing on defense, and on offense too, it's kind of the same principle, where I'm playing in and out of distance, and I like to hide my blade. I keep my blade low and down here, right? And so this, they think it's low, so all this stuff is nice and exposed, right? And so I play with the distance, and then I get them to commit the attack, and then I can take blade and hit, right? And so I'm kind of hiding the trap away from them, right? So I'm kind of playing, here's something to tempt them, and here's the trap set underneath the bait. So once they actually go for, what they want, then I can take, right? So that's like simple direct bump, right? That kind of stuff. And the same on offense too, right? I'll be pushing in and out, right? I'll be playing, and I kind of have my blade back too, or whatever, or I'm kind of hiding it, right? And so I'm just playing with the distance, and I get them to either be desperate, or they call my nonsense at exactly the wrong time. They call out my nonsense at the wrong time. So I'm hiding my blade away, right? And they're running away, and then they panic. And, there's two things that people do. Well, they continue running, right? So that's what the opponent was just doing, right? If I can scare them and get them to run, right? That's one action, right? Where, they're totally surprised. What's the other reaction that people do when they're surprised? It's, stick their blade out and try and, this thing, it's scary, you stay away, right? And that's right when I can just take the blade, boom, boom, right? Because I've set up the distance, I've got them, where they took a huge step back, and then they're like having, then they really set their feet, and that's when I'm closing the distance. What are they going to do, right? I mean, they put all this energy into stopping at that place, right? And then I'm closing the distance too fast for them to be able to get out. And so what's your option? Especially if I've scared you, right? You're going to go, duh, and then bing, bing, right? And I just take the blade. Circular beats or circular blade actions. Usually I use that to set up other pairs, just like what Tyler was talking about, right? And so if I'm circling like this, right, and I can get them like right here, there's a timing to it, right? Just like Mario, with the fireball chain, wheel things, right? There's a timing that you gotta, do to get through those things. You have to figure out. And so I'm going backwards. I look and I'm getting them to look, or to go, they have to adjust to my timing, right? Because I'm the one doing the scary things, right? They don't want their blade touched. And so I'm setting up the scenario, right? Oh, I'm looking for the blade. I'm looking for the blade. I'm looking for the blade. And there's two things that people like to do. And if I look for the blade, they're going to go underneath and come to the other side. And so then I transition here, boom, right? Or you could go up into parry one if you want to be fancy, but that works, right? Follows into the same thing, boom, right? Since I'm a lefty and I fence against righties mostly, what people like to do is I look for the blade like this, they disengage, and people don't typically like going to there. They like going to over the top of my blade, right? Because if my blade is going down and then they disengage and come over the top, right? Look at that, right? And then for that, I just parry 3, right? But I go here, and then I make this tighten the circle, right? So I go look, boom, all right? And also, I was showing it a bit because I was just stepping in and doing it, and that isn't the way that it works, right? I use it just like I'm controlling the distance, right? So I'm stepping in, and I get them to disengage, and then I pull away, right? That was a little too much, but Tyler didn't want to stab me in the face. I appreciate that. So I'm getting them to have to disengage, boom, right? So I'm kind of what I was talking about last week, where I'm reaching forward with that defensive lunge, right? I'm getting him to react way back there, and now I have a chance to step back, parry, or post. Or if they get savvy to that action, then they're going to go over to the top there. Yep, boom, boom. So, bah, bah, right? But I'm giving myself time because the foundation of all blade work is footwork. That's kind of, I guess, so it's always distance, right? You can do whatever you want as long as you're controlling the distance the way that you want. And so that's I guess that's my viewpoint on the circular and straight actions, right? I don't typically use circular actions as like just a direct thing that I use to hit the opponent or to set up the hit. I use that to set up the action that I want to have happen, and so it's a little more layered because this is a little more exposing. It's a flashier move. Sometimes it can intimidate people. I use that too, right? I come in there and do my full like silverback sapling routine. And people get a little hesitant. They're like, "Well, I don't want to do that," right? And then, but they want to hit me, so I'm putting them in a bit of a conflict where like they want to hit me, but I'm also thrashing around like a wild ape. So like, what are they gonna do? So anything that they're gonna do, they don't have the same confidence, right? Because they're uncomfortable. And then that's when I can layer in something. To do. Also, I guess I forgot to mention this about beats too, especially with circular beat. Well, both of them too. Is if you hit someone's opponent blade, if you hit your opponent's blade, you hit someone's opponent, then like
you're on the wrong strip.
Yeah, you're on the wrong strip. Exactly. That's a really strong. I don't know the actual term, but like negative stimulus, I guess we'll say. I don't know, right? Like you all know, if your blade gets hit and you lose the right of way, you're like, I just can't let that happen again. It's a very strong reaction, right? Because it goes through your sense of touch, goes right to your brain. All your hopes and dreams all of a sudden kind of get like cracked a little bit when that happens because it's such a strong signal to your brain. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can't let that happen again. And so then I'll come out there and I'll not even like I can do this, and do the wavy thing and hold their blade back, and then I can counter them, right? Because all of a sudden they're keep stepping in. I got to put pressure on, but I can't let the blade get hit, right? And so then they can set up the other thing. I also do that like when they're afraid of straight beats. So I won't even be doing anything except for moving my feet. But if I hit their blade, they remember. They definitely remember. And so if it looks like I'm setting that up, even just looks like it, right? Yeah, they're just going to want to pull their blade away, right? I don't want that to happen again, because he marched me down to the end of the strip and hit me and didn't even, like, I don't know, did something mildly disrespectful and walking back to the strip or something. You know, you're like, I just don't want that to happen again. And so then you're so worried about that all of a sudden I'm like, whoop, gotcha. Doink. Yeah, and then even more deflated. So that's my whole philosophy on fencing is it's psychological warfare, and you want them to be upset. Right? That gives you an advantage. I know that kind of sounds heartless, but hey, that's just the way it goes, right? I mean, fencing or any sport is about, really ultimately is self-control. Can you contain and understand what you're trying to do and what you are doing and what you can do throughout this chaos that your opponent is throwing at you, right? To get you to be totally confused. Can you stay centered to yourself through that chaos? Typically, everybody, and that's what the best do, right? You know, they get upset. I mean, you see everybody get upset. Nobody's perfect, but the best keep their cool, right? They believe in themselves. They know how to bring themselves back to that center, and despite, the referee or the opponent or any that other anything that's like is surprising or chaotic to like what they're trying to their plan, they can adapt and recenter themselves and bring themselves back to where they need to be. And then once you're centered, then it's easy for you to upset your opponent because you're just calm and cool and just like, okay, I'll just do this. Oh, they didn't like that, did they? Well, I guess I'll do it again. Oh, maybe I'll do it. Oh, no, I think I'm going to do something else. You thought wrong, I guess, bud. Okay, let me just walk out of frame real quick. So now what we're going to do is we'll do our little bit of exercise. This shouldn't take that long because we're doing burnout push-ups, and so those the time decreases on those incredibly fast. So we're going to do 6 high wire jumps and then burnout push-ups, and we're going to do that 5 times. For the high wire jumps, we're not going to be doing like hop, 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 back and forth. What I want you to concentrate on is trying to jump as high as you possibly can over it, right? So gathering all that power and focusing it in order to jump over it. So if you have string, last time I showed this, it was a string, but I didn't have time to set it up, so I just put this stick across 2 chairs, and falls over reasonably well, so I don't think I'll hurt myself that bad, but who knows?
As long as you jump that way.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, I suppose. Hey, it should be fine. So, what I want to do is you're just here.
Send it.
Just gonna send it. So I'm standing here, and I'm just gonna try and jump over the top. Now, I did a mistake there. I was looking down, and I landed on my toes. That's asking for summer teeth.
Oh, my God. Oh, goodness gracious.
So, yeah, because you'll fall and hit your face. I remember in, 3rd grade, we were playing, they have the big parachutes?
Yeah.
And the kid slipped, and he knocked out his front teeth.
Oof.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. So that's 1. Try and land soft, if you can, around. I'm practicing for my cosplay Ninja Gaiden costume. Oh boy, I'm such a buffoon. I belong on the internet. So
Goodness gracious.
5. All right, and then burnout push-ups. So down. Keep form, because if you don't keep form, then you'll ruin your shoulders like I did. So, elbows in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, That's one set. Five? We'll call it 5. I wish I could count. That'd be great.
You need 6 fingers, Sam.
I know. Oh. Two, 3, 4. Yep. And also, when you do burn-up push-ups, it's when you give up. So if you have to pause and you're done, that's you burned out. All right. No, I almost dislocated my thumb. 3. 4. 6. All right.
Like that you were keeping everything symmetrical by walking around the right and left side. Don't want to get lopsided.
No, gotta work on that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 3.
This is set number 4,
Excellent. Yeah, that's going by pretty quick.
at least I think. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, that makes sense. 1, 2.
Anna says, "Go Sam, go."
3. 4. 5. 6. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Woo!
Yeah. I suppose this is it.
This is it.
This is it.
This is a final tour.
That's all right. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Sweet deal. Quick drink of water.
And then we're right down at the end. Got our daily dose of crunches, and looks like a little plank just to finish.
Just to finish it off.
Put a nice little.
Nice little cherry on top. Red little cherry. Which hopefully your faces aren't like that after doing planks. But that's great. All right. Crunches, everybody's favorite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Woo! Alrighty. And then 1 minute. Oh, planks. When you're doing planks, remember, you want to be trying to use your abdominal muscles to pull your hands and your feet towards each other. So don't just kind of, there's a lazy way to doing planks, right, where you just kind of relax and only use the necessary things to kind of keep your spine in place. But if you really want to work, right, actively pull. Make yourself miserable because we're almost done. And then you have dinner. Everything will be good. All right. So we'll be up in plank position and go. Breathing's a big deal. Proper breath is important, whether you're weightlifting, kettlebells, it's vitally important. Yoga, obviously. So, try and control your breath. Make sure you're breathing deep, not hyperventilating when you're doing the planks. All right. Well, there you go. Monday night live stream with Coach Sam and Tyler. Remember to stay hydrated, especially after one of my nutcase sessions, and stay safe. And always, don't touch your face, at least in front of other people. And then, so, yeah. I guess that's it. All right. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, we'll see Coach Sam on Wednesday again. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye.